The Bad Batch, episode 5 of season 2, and I gotta say, this has by far been my favorite episode of the season. This was a great, just fun episode that was action packed, and it didn't have anything to do with the Jedi or any of the politics that are going on. This was a simple treasure hunt episode that is like a blend of the Mummy and Indiana Jones, with more of a leaning towards the Indiana Jones side of things. So it was a great episode that I feel was entertaining for both the children out there and the adults, because I still had a lot of fun and I'm in my early 40s. So we're going to get into this. As always, spoiler alert, I don't do spoiler free. So if you haven't watched the episode out, which just came out on Wednesday, I think, we're a couple days out. So you should have had time. If you haven't, go get it done. Like, subscribe, hit that bell icon so you always get more. Don't forget to support in any way you can. Super chats, stickers, all those good things. Memberships are down below. Let's get into my show notes here and scroll up a bit. So the episode is called Entombed, and I wasn't quite sure where the episode was going to start because we see Wrecker and Omega off by themselves, and I was like, are we going to have another episode where Hunter and uh, the other guy, I forget his name at the moment, Echo, are they going to be off on their own again, or are they ball back together again? But it's really fun when we see this opening sequence because Wrecker and Omega are scouring this junkyard for parts, and Wrecker is looking for something very specific, whereas Omega's like, stuff, and she's just collecting all this junk and hauling it back. And we get this sequence next where we find Phee, who is voiced by Wanda Sykes. And I mentioned that during the first episode. I was like, wait, did she come in and do a character? And she totally did. So she's here, telling this grand story to these drunk dudes at the cantina where they hang out. And Hunter and Echo are sitting here and sort of like rolling their eyes at the stories she's telling, along with Tech. And um, it's really funny because they're getting sick of the fact that that she tells the same story with different endings to these locals all the time, and they're just rolling their eyes. But also, they kind of are just ignoring that. Where were Hunter and Echo last episode? Because remember, they were off doing their own thing while the other three were with Omega. And I assumed at the end of last episode that they had maybe gone off and found some mission critical information or something, and I don't know if they're going to bring that back later on in the episode, or maybe they just wrote that episode that way and there's no, there was no reason for Hunter and Echo to have, to bring anything back. It was just, oh, they're busy on a mission. So, I don't know. Wishful thinking, perhaps. So when I found out that we were getting a treasure hunt episode, I was like, this is awesome. Because in the middle of all that junk that they picked up in the junkyard, specifically in the middle of all that junk that Omega brought back, she found this device that looks like a little round thing, and Fee's getting all excited about it. She's like, oh my God, this is some type of ancient compass with strange letterings inscribed that are coordinates to another galaxy. And Omega just freaks out. She's like, treasure, this is going to be awesome. And Wrecker's right on board with her, and he's excited. But everyone else is like, I don't know, man. But at the end, they decide to go, although Hunter's not quite happy about that. He sighs in defeat. So I love the fact when they arrive, Omega is eating up all of Fee's stories, even if they have a lot of dubious claims within them. And she hates the fact that like Hunter's referring to her as a pirate, because she's like, no, I'm a liberator of ancient artifacts. Um, but when they touch down on this new planet, they find out that it's just scorched Earth. There's no way anything could have survived here. It's completely barren. Hunter's getting pretty grumpy about the fact that they came all this way for nothing, and then the compass activates and starts emitting this signal. And then Omega grabs it and starts running off, leading them as fast as she can. She's super excited, and they eventually make their way to this rock face, and there's a secret entrance here with which Phee discovers. And I love when they're going in because Wrecker is just like, oh wow, this is so cool. Like he's really getting into it because of his naivete, and it's really funny sometimes. And then as they're going in this entrance, you see this predator jump across the frame in the front, and it's like, okay, now we're gonna have something's gonna attack them soon, so that's gonna happen. I mean, some of this stuff is super predictable because this is a kids show, but at the end of the day, the inner child in me loves this show because of that reason. So You can judge me all you want. I don't care. They get inside. There's strange symbols and architecture everywhere, and these etchings that are like more than 1,000 years old, according to what um, Tech is looking at. But Fee's like, no, no, they're older, much older. This is the entrance to Skaranal, the legendary city of the ancients from before the Jedi's time. The heart of the mountain is inside, she says, and they are here to liberate it. This is where I was like, in my notes, I literally have, this is a lot like watching the first Mummy movie combined with Indiana Jones. And if I was 10 years old right now watching this show, I would be freaking out. Hell, the 43-year-old in me is like loving this episode. So it's an epic adventure, and this is epic adventure shit that's going down right now. So it's happening in Star Wars. So two birds, one stone. I wouldn't mind that chicken outside who keeps crowing, but that's morning on the homestead, ladies and gentlemen. Boom. Set off a booby trap, and Hunter's getting a little irked, but Fee's like, relax, man. It's just a way out. There's always a way out. It's part of the puzzle. Mega's looking through all the compass data, and they find out that it shows strange symbols on these various pillars, and then they figure out that they have to move these pillars around and do all this stuff. And I was just shaking my head in laughter watching this part of this episode, because I have done this in so many freaking video games. Like, it's exactly like this in like every adventure RPG you ever play. There's going to be a puzzle like this where you have to align symbols to open a door, and there's usually clues around that tell you how to do it. They get the door open. They find this heart of the mountain. Or excuse me, they don't find it yet. Scares me. This is when they open the door, and Phee gives her speech about how the heart of the mountain is ancient crystallized stone with a legend behind it that is a key to an ancient power. And Tech is analyzing everything around them and shows that the stones predate the Republic, so Phee might be onto something. And then there's this fight sequence with the creature. They get briefly separated in the tunnels. I got a good chuckle because Phee calls Hunter by, by his accoutrement. She says, "Hey, Bandana." She just literally calls him Bandana. Um, Omega figures out a puzzle all on her own. They reunite. They open this door into this huge area, and boom, there's the heart of the mountain. They go down these ledges and pull it out, and then we get the ruins are shaking and we're going to die because it's all going to fall down around us sequence. Only it turns out that that's not quite what happened here. So I like how they took like the Indiana Jones-ness of it, but then turned it on his head, and it's this huge alien technical creature that has been slumbering underneath this mountain for thousands of years, and because of this device, and when they unplugged it, the energy all went back into the creature, and it comes up and it starts blasting the planetscape. So this was how the planet got scorched in the first place, essentially. And they realized that in order to put this creature down, they're going to have to get the heart of the mountain back into it. Um, and of course, there's this whole animation sequence of combat and fighting and the monster moving around. There's a fight sequence with the creature, that predator that comes back. And I had a moment here where I really appreciate what they've done with the Omega character, because even though she's a kid sometimes, super excitable, super naive, when it comes to combat scenarios, she is cool as a cucumber. And this is the Jengo Fett inside of her. That's that DNA that's within her that made all of the clones and made him such a badass, bounty hunter, and Boba Fett into a badass bounty hunter and everything else. This is that DNA at play, and so she's just firing her bow in the face of danger, and we get through all of that. They turn the machine off. They all survive, because it's a kids show. Um, and yeah, no treasure, but another bonding adventure. So this was a filler episode, but it was super fun. So I don't really mind it, even though I'm not a big fan of filler episodes. Um, in this case, I really had a lot of fun watching this. So for me, it was an easy 10 out of 10. This episode. And the ending of this, where Omega and Hunter and the guys are a little upset that there was no treasure, but Fee's like, well, sometimes the treasure's not the point. Sometimes the point is, finding that. And she and Omega are talking about this. Sometimes finding the legend, figuring out that this thing was real, is more important than actually finding the treasure, because you confirmed a legend. And they're not buying it, but Omega's hook, line, and sinker with Phee in this. And the episode ends with the two of them like walking into the distance towards the ship, and Fee's telling another tall tale, and Omega's like, oh, wow. And then it just shows the ship taking off and up into space, and it fades to black. And I was like, man, these guys know what they're doing when it comes to, fulfilling the storytelling desires of their audience, because I'm having a hell of a lot of fun when I watch these episodes. So yeah, 10 out of 10 for me. Can't wait to see the next one. I got to do the last two episodes of Tales of the Jedi, so I'm gonna try to get to those this weekend. In any case, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, support if you can with super chats on premieres and live streams, super thanks after the fact, and don't forget, as always, memberships down here, or you can pick up a membership over at our Patreon page, and support me, my wife, and my brother with our tabletop world, point and click RPG, and fantasy book series. There's also a Discord channel down there, so we'll see you somewhere. Till next time, everybody, stay safe, and may the Force be with you.